So according to a recent statistics, it turns out architecture students spend the most number of hours on schoolwork compared to all other majors in post-secondary education. Now, this is probably not too much of a surprise considering how many all-nighters you pull in a regular basis. So let's talk about why this is happening and how we can improve it so that we can improve our own health without compromising our productivity. So let's dive right into it. Hey, what is up guys? My name is Ben. I'm an ex-BIG and OMA employee, and now I create content so I can support our fellow architecture students and young professionals. And as you already know, today we're going to talk about all-nighter culture. And you've probably done this before, and I know there's like a small fraction of students that don't do this, but a vast majority of students end up having to pull 1 or 2 all-nighters every term or at some kind of regular basis. And this turns out to be the case in the professional practice as well, at least during your entry-level phase. So let's talk about how we got to this phase and how we can improve it afterwards. So number 1, why is this happening? So we have many theories behind this, but ArchiHack's team, we kind of narrowed down to our studio culture. Of course, culture is something that's been cultivated over a really long time. So it's really hard to pinpoint where it really started and how we can change it right away. But we know that the studio environment can be inducive to this kind of distractions and peer pressure that ends up leading into a bit of a workaholic culture. And as architects, we know that how much environments can affect our own behaviors. So our number 1 advice is to maybe find ways to remove distractions or pressures from your working environment. So this can come in the form of setting up some sort of dividers between your row, or even moving to a different place that is more isolated. This might be difficult when you're working on a team project, so that would be like a special case. I'll let you guys work that out, but first step to solving a problem is to recognize it. And we realize that studio environment, it's one of the reasons why it takes so much time to get simple things done and also push ourselves into doing something that is kind of beyond our limit, which can of course be a good thing, but sometimes it comes at a cost of health and even productivity. So we recommend students to try this out maybe a couple of times in the beginning, but find your own balance and kind of calibrate your own pace along the way. Now, this might sound really obvious, but our number 2 tip is to do better time management. Time management is obviously one of the most important skill sets in order to avoid all-nighters and fulfill your projects on time. What we recommend you do is look at all the workload you would like to complete by the end of the semester and kind of slot out what time you'll be able to finish them. So for example, if your presentation in 1 month, maybe try to finish your design within maybe let's say 2 weeks, and the 3rd week will be spent on just totally producing all the drawings, diagrams, the models and everything. And the last week is dedicated to refining your presentation and any kind of missing work that can be done or reinforced. I know this is extremely difficult, but we kind of talked about this in our previous video about presentation, so I'll let you guys check that out. The point is, once you break your project into bite-sized sizes, it'll be more easy to predict how much time it'll take. And it'll also allow you to avoid all-nighters unnecessarily. And also the other thing is, there's always unexpected factors such as, power outage, or maybe your laptop will be not working as you expected, some sort of technical difficulty. So we strongly recommend you maybe block out twice as much time as you think you'll need. I mean, that seems to be the case for me at least, but always expect the unexpected. And if all goes well, you'll be done ahead of schedule so you can invest more time into presentation or fixing up some drawings that you think could use more work. And number 3 tip can be a really useful one too. And this is to create an accountability partner. I know that studio environment can be a very distracting place, as we mentioned in number 1. And this is a little bit counterintuitive, but having a couple of really close friends who can set up boundaries so that we don't distract each other, but also keep an eye on each other's work so that we make sure to complete our work on time. And these are the people that you should be sharing your goals, maybe daily, weekly, or even monthly, so that we can check on at the end. Having another person to check in with can be actually a really good exercise. Not only does it build more trust with each other, but also kind of allows you to push yourself a little bit harder to complete things on time. And you can probably think of a couple friends who can do this with. And these have to be not the most chatty or distracting person. It might take a little while until you find the right person who is not too distracting or is able to focus on the thing at given time. But once you do, accountability partner will be instrumental to increasing your productivity as well as saving yourself a lot of all-nighters. Okay, and last but not least, self-care. It's always the reason why all-nighters is so tempting is so that we can get more things done. It's kind of counterintuitive in the sense that I like to think that every stroke of line I make after midnight is a stroke backwards, if that makes any sense. The later the night is, the worse my performance goes. Getting a good amount of sleep and eating well can actually help you become more productive than having to spend more time on doing the actual work. And that means your mind will be sharper and you'll be able to make better decisions without second doubt. So those are the tips for avoiding all-nighters and staying productive. ArchiX is all about helping young students and professionals out in their architectural career. So if you want to learn more tips like this one, make sure to subscribe to us so that you'll see them more in your feed. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time.